Hey, my name is Gaia Athena and today I'm bringing you a book review. However, before I do that, I would like to mention a couple of things. I have recently been to the library, so the next some book reviews that you're going to see are all going to be from library books, and quite a few of them are Dutch books. After I finish my library loans, I am planning to read some books for Blackathon, which is a readathon that takes place in the month of February. In February it's also a contemporary-athon, so I hope to also maybe squeeze in a contemporary fiction book with a black main character. Well, that's as far as my reading plans for the next while. I'm trying to keep it a bit open because I am very much a mood reader. So hopefully I'll be in the mood for the books that I have in mind for all this, but we will see. Today, however, I'm bringing you a book review of Auti-communicatie by Colette de Bruin. And this is a book about communication between people with autism and people without autism. And it is also based on the Geef de 5 method that the author explained in her book Geef de 5, which is kind of the book that came before this one. However, I haven't read that one. I saw this at the library and I wanted to give it a try. This is an information book and it was written some years ago. It is mostly intended for people without autism, how they can communicate with people with autism. Quite a few of it is based on like a parent-child relationship. So in that sense, it was not quite what I had wanted out of it. The relationship between the person with autism and the person without autism was not equal. It was more like I said, a parent with an autistic child, or for example, like a therapist with an autistic teenager or something like that. So that's just knowing going into that. I didn't know that. However, I did like reading this book. I learned quite a few things, and what I most appreciated was that I also learned some things about myself, and oh, that's why I'm doing that, and that just means a lot to me. So while maybe a lot of the content in the book is not something that is useful to me personally, I do really appreciate learning some things about myself and the way I communicate and the way I think and things like that. A thing I really liked about this book is that the author gave plenty of examples of like things that happened in real life to people with autism, or parents to people with autism, of parents of children with autism. And I really liked these examples. There were especially a couple that really spoke to me. For example, there was one about a mother who didn't wear makeup, and I don't wear makeup, so I really appreciated that one. But there were plenty of others that I really liked or understood, or like that I had that too when I was younger, and so I really liked all the examples. There are quite a few examples in this book and I really appreciated that. One thing that I liked less about this book is that it used the term black and white thinking, and I don't know how other people feel about this, but I personally feel that term is racist. I'm just gonna go out and say it. I know it is a term that has been around in language for a long time. In Dutch this is called zwart-wit denken, but it is basically black and white thinking, and I'm sure that I think it exists in English as well. And I personally am not comfortable with this term, because with the term what is meant is that people with autism often think in extremes. So for example, really good or really bad, or like really good and really negative, let's put it that way. And the term basically equates then the positive with white and the negative with black thinking, and for reasons that are maybe obvious, I am not comfortable with this term. I feel it is racist, and I feel we need to get rid of terms like this and need to replace them with terms that are not racist. Now I was still able to read the book, but whenever they mentioned this term, I cringed. And it is not a huge part of the book, but it is mentioned a few times throughout the book, particularly in specific sections. And so, yeah, this just wasn't okay with me. Now, the book was written a while ago, and I don't know if this, like, because this is my opinion. I don't know how other people feel about this. So if you have an opinion on this, or some thoughts or anything, please feel free to put it in the comments or send me a message on Twitter or whatever you want, because I would like to learn more. I don't know any black people in the Netherlands personally. I do know them from BookTube, but yeah, to me this term is just not okay. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. But I don't know how other people feel about this. Maybe it is just me. I don't know. One other thing about the book is that it stated that when a person with autism, in most cases it was a child, is experiencing tics. So those are like movements or things like the child does. They're like involuntary. And people with autism often have tics. And the book basically stated that when this happens, it means that something is unclear on the 5 for the child. Let me explain for a second what on the 5 is. So that is what, where, whom or with who, when and how about a specific task or subject. And I cannot speak for anyone else, but for me, I have tics. I definitely have them. I have them a lot, but they don't always happen because of, in that specific moment, what we're talking about is unclear. That is not how it works for me. I have had tics throughout my life. Some periods they were really bad, and some periods they were a lot less bad. Bad is maybe not the right word, but what I mean is I was doing them a lot versus I was doing them a lot less. And for me, it was much more related to stress, and that was not always specifically about the thing that I happened to be talking about in that exact moment, but also just lots of other things. So for me, that specific, yeah, for me it doesn't work that way. I can't speak for other people with autism. It's just that for me, yeah, it doesn't work that way, the way that the book said. So overall then, I liked reading this book. I had some issues with it, as I have just explained. It was not useful for me. Not everything in the book is useful to me, but I do appreciate the insights that it gave me, and I especially really liked the few times that I learned something about myself, about some things that are important to me and the way I think, and that I just really appreciate, because that specific is just, yeah, it's something I've been thinking about, and I really appreciate having gotten more insight into that. So yeah, overall I liked the book. I didn't love it. I had a few issues with it, but I did really like it. The main issue was the term black and white thinking. But again, I don't know if that is just me or how other people feel about it, particularly people of color. So yeah, if you have anything to say about that, please let me know in a nice way. So yeah, this book was written quite a few years ago, so there is that. But yeah, I just feel like we need to change that language. Now in the Netherlands, we have quite a few people of color living here, but let me put it this way. In the United States, for example, there are more black people than in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, we have some people of color, but we have, I think, more people from like Turkey and Morocco, for example, than we have black people, I think. So I don't think there is much of a discussion about this term in my country, but yeah, that's just my opinion. And my book reviews are my opinion, so yeah. I do have another book by this author loaned from the library, which is one she wrote after this one, and it is meant to be, well, it is not meant, but I mean, it is, I think it is about how things work in the brains of people with autism. So, but because that one was written after this one, I decided to read this one first, even though the other one was the one I was more interested in. So yeah, I'm gonna be reading that soon. Yeah. So there will be some book reviews in the next while about, just like this book, Dutch books. I really appreciate the people who watch these videos, even when I discuss a Dutch book, and most of my viewers won't be able to read this book. They probably won't be able to buy the book either. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate those of you who watch my videos and who often comment, and yeah, even though you can't read the specific book, you watch the video if you made it to this point just to hear my thoughts, and I just want to say I really appreciate that. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll hope to see you in my next video. Bye!